What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today we've got the top 10 edge rushers in a league where quarterback play is so important. It is this edge rush position that is really the premier position capable of disrupting the quarterback's rhythm and really getting them off their game. So this is a premier position. It's a position that teams are going to put a lot of emphasis in, potentially reach for some of these guys. So it's really important to talk about what your team could be getting here in the draft that is almost a week away. I'm so pumped. Again, you're going to see an impact rating here, which is sort of their Madden rating coming in right away, how impactful they'll be, a potential grade, and an overall grade, which is just sort of their prospect value. So let's get right into it here. We got Bradley Chubb, number 1. Not a big surprise here. A true 4-3 end, which actually could lead to him falling a little bit. You know, I think a lot of mocks have him falling between 7 and 11 now. I think that's more because he is a little scheme dependent. He does have to play that 4-3 edge position, but he reminds me a lot of like Derek Barnett coming out last year, except for Chubb is bigger, faster, and stronger, but just has that polish. He's going to come in right away, probably be your team's best edge rusher, unless a team like Cleveland took him at 4, which I think would be a great move to pair with Myles Garrett there. But I think Bradley Chubb, one of the safer players in this draft, definitely the safest edge rusher on this list. So let's get into number 2 here, who's a little more boom or bust, but a guy I've been super high on is finally getting touted as probably the second best edge rusher in this class consistently, and it's Harold Landry. I think of baby Von Miller here, just that elite bend around that edge, just the ability to get low and really just so hard to block when you're that quick and low. He has the strength, though, to establish sort of an in and out speed to power move, which could be a huge boost for him and his value. I've got him as a top 10 pick here. He's also in the same tier as Chubb here. He's also the best 3-4 outside linebacker. So, you know, you could see a team like the Bears potentially at 8, even taking like Harold Landry over Bradley Chubb because he does fit their 3-4 scheme a little more. The Colts at 6, also 3-4 team. I don't know if they would go that far, but really like Harold Landry. And then number 3, ranked high here again for the same reason that Harold Landry is, although Lorenzo Carter here at 3 at 6'6", 250, an elite caliber athlete. I mean, you're drafting this guy based on potential. He is going to come in and start right away, but you know, he is a little more raw than the guys on this list, but he really does have elite balance as an edge rusher, has good agility, really explosive off the ball, could play down lineman or outside linebacker. Really high upside pick here. He can even cover a little bit. Good track record of pass rushers coming out of Georgia. Leonard Floyd being the most recent. I think Floyd is actually a pretty decent comparison for Carter here. And I got Carter going in the mid-first. I think I'm a little higher on him than a lot of people, but excited to watch him develop at the next level. And then number 4, I got Marcus Davenport out of Texas San Antonio. Really good first step, huge, strong dude, 4-3 end. Could potentially play outside linebacker, but I like him best in a 4-3 scheme. I think ideally he's going to be your number 2 edge rusher. He does have the upside to be a number 1, but I think in an ideal world, you're pairing him with an established guy on the other side. I've got him going mid-first here. Really high on this edge class, by the way. You'll notice I'm higher on a lot of these guys. We're talking about the 4th guy here going in the mid-first, and it's a premier position. So I do really like this class. But, you know, Davenport is probably the best run defender in this group outside of Bradley Chubb, but definitely offers upside in the pass rush department as well. He's coming from a lower level competition, so he's going to have to refine some things to get it to work against elite level competition. And a lot of people have Davenport as the 2nd or 3rd edge in this class. I'm not really going to fight that too much. I just think the upside is a little higher with Carter and Landry, and I can just envision them being more successful down the road. That's more of a preference thing for me. And then number 5 here, Duke Ejiofor, a bit of a surprise. Now, when I mocked him to Detroit in my mock draft, a lot of Detroit fans were like, what the hell? I've never heard of this guy. I'd be pissed if we took him. Well, he might have that sort of aura to him, that unknown guy that sneaks into the end of the first round. Your team takes him and you're like, what? but, there's teams that do that a lot. And I think Ejiofor could be that guy that comes in at the end of the first this year, who not a lot of people know about, and your team's kind of bummed to have him, but then he comes in and is just getting after the quarterback, maybe gets 8 to 10 sacks as a rookie, and you're looking at him as a steal in this class. He's really not being talked about because he's coming off of injury. He's a redshirt senior out of Wake Forest, who no one really watches, but he's not at the combine because of injury. But his tape is really good. He might be the most polished guy outside of Chubb in this entire class. He's probably a 4-3 edge, but I think he's quick enough to play outside as well. He definitely fits that plug-and-play number 2 edge rusher here, which is why I had him going to Detroit. He can come in and complement Ezekiel Ansah, but really any competitive team that needs edge rush help is going to be really happy with Duke Ejiofor here, I think, at the end of the first round. Then I got Arden Key at number 6, whose stock is just plummeting lately. Mel Kiper thinks he's going in the 4th round. I can't possibly imagine that. I mean, there's just too much upside here still for that to happen. I still think he goes end of the 1st, early 2nd here. The weird thing is his weight. He was 238 at the combine, but he was supposedly playing in the mid to high 250s at LSU. So what weight does he want to play at? Is he going to be a speed rusher? Is he going to be a power rusher? He's just a true junior, so he's young. He still needs to really figure out what he's going to be. So you need a coach that has a plan for him. He's 6'6", 238. That's really slender, but he has that elite athleticism, really has the upside of a true number 1 edge rusher. I just don't know how a team is going to pass on him 3 times like Kiper thinks. Maybe once, but, got to have a plan for him. Probably want him as part of a rotation right away so he can develop. But a young guy, I think he's going to be pretty good if he gets to the right fit. So that sort of wraps up the guys that I think could go in the 1st round. And then we're on to Dorance Armstrong here at number 7 out of Kansas. He's sort of in that same profile as Arden Key, a young guy, true junior here, who has really started to grow physically. He was like 225 pounds when he first got on the field. He's up to 257 now at the combine, which really boosted his stock. However, he comes out and runs a 4.87 at that time. I think he's a lot faster than that, but definitely a red flag there. I think he's probably best to lose some of that weight, and he may have improved that 40 time at his pro day. I actually didn't check, but I know he's faster than a 4.87. That's why I still have him here as the first guy in this 2nd tier. I think his upside is really nice, but he's very raw. He needs to develop. He needs to find out what weight he's going to play at and find the right scheme, just like Arden Key. Just doesn't quite have that upside that Key has, but I like Armstrong as well. And then at number 8, Sam Hubbard. A lot of people love Hubbard. When I watch him play, I think of that Bill Belichickian 4-3 end. I got Trey Flowers as his upside in comparison here. He didn't show really that true pass rushing ability ever since Bosa left. He's a good athlete. He's really quick, and I think he's best fitted, like I said, as that Belichickian gap control, run defending 4-3 end who can rush the passer, but really is your 2nd or 3rd best edge rusher on your roster, ideally. But he is a starter right away. I think he's really going to help in run D. Got to be the right scheme fit. Somewhere like New England might be a really good fit for him in the 2nd round with all those picks they have. And then number 9, interesting player here, Ogbonnia Okoronkwo out of Oklahoma. Just 6'1", which is really small for an edge rusher. And I tend not to get as terrified of height problems as a lot of scouts seem to. But 6'1" is a concern. You do definitely need arm length. Arm length definitely helps when you're in a position where you need to get that first punch. But Double O, as I'm going to call him because his name's tough, really makes up for that arm length with his quickness. Has super quick feet, and he's 253 pounds, which is really heavy for 6'1". He offers quite a bit in coverage as well. He knows he's probably never going to be an elite edge rusher. I think he can get after the passer, but he definitely fits into a scheme where they're going to use him in coverage a lot out of that on-ball outside linebacker position. He's going to be a versatile dude, just probably never going to be an elite edge rusher in my opinion. But he definitely showed at times the ability to really wreak havoc getting after the quarterback at college. Just don't know how well that's going to translate, but he does have elite quickness. And then my last guy on this list here, Jeff Holland. Now, I really wanted him to be Carl Lawson, who I really liked coming out last year out of Auburn, who was one of the biggest steals in the entire class at any position last year. Really just isn't the athlete, though, that Carl Lawson was, and Lawson fell because of injury concerns. But his tape isn't that far off. He definitely has some good bend around the edge. I don't think he's quite as polished, though, as Lawson was. But again, just not the athlete that Lawson was. Is the same size, 6'2", 249, just a true junior. So I think there is upside here for sure. I'm not going to say he can't be Carl Lawson. I just feel a little less strong about that after his workouts. So probably a guy you want to be the third edge rusher when you draft him and then potentially develops into that number 2. So a guy here with Holland that I was really high on and I'm just starting to fall. And then to be honest, after Holland, there's a pretty big drop-off. I have a late second round grade on Holland, but then after that, I got Kamoko Toure, Taekwon Lewis, and Breland Speaks all the way down in the 4th round. So it's a good cutoff to do a top 10 list because I really think if you're getting one of these 10, you're getting a potential starting edge rusher. And then after that, it's really just kind of throwing darts at that point. So I really like these 10. It's a good group. I'm curious how you guys would order these or if you would have one of those guys, maybe Breland Speaks, in your top 10. And again, you can get my full draft board that's over 400 players through PayPal or Patreon. The link is right there in the description below. Like the video if you enjoyed, guys. Looking forward to the draft and hearing back from you guys. Cheers, everyone. We'll see you next time.